AICE Media Studies presents Always the Bridesmaid, Never Bride, a Tim Burton and Corpse Bride documentary. Tim Burton is known for his distinctive style of darkness with beautiful humor. He has created some of the most well-known films today. He keeps the animation, stop-motion, and clay animation industry alive. Before making Corpse Bride, Tim Burton created the 1993 The Nightmare Before Christmas movie. This was his first work in the stop-motion industry. While Tim Burton was working at Disney, he designed this character fascinated with Christmas and wanted to recreate it in his own way. This would later become Jack Skellington, the main character in The Nightmare Before Christmas. Tim Burton wrote the whole story and drew the original artwork that designed the movie. A team of over 100 artists, 13 brilliant animators, over 100 camera operators, puppet makers, set builders, and prop makers spent 3 years of frame-by-frame animation to create this movie. This truly shows how time-consuming and difficult clay animation is. Tim Burton worked closely with composer and lyricist Danny Elfman to create the music for the movie. They created a masterpiece that is watched every Christmas. This work later led to the creation of the Corpse Bride movie using the same stop-motion in the film. The original story. The story of Corpse Bride is inspired by a dark Jewish folktale, The Finger. The movie follows the same story of a man mistakenly marrying a corpse by saying his vows and putting the ring on what he thinks is a tree branch, but in fact a corpse's finger. She then rises from the dead, going after her now husband as he runs away from this living corpse. The movie portrays the corpse, Emily, as beautiful and ethereal instead of dead and ugly. Then it goes through the whole process of him wanting out of the marriage because he loves the person he was going to originally marry. However, the corpse wants it to continue. In the movie, the story ends with a happy ending. The villain gets killed, the man marrying his love, and the corpse resolving her unfinished business. In the original folktale, the marriage gets terminated and the man marries his true love, but the corpse does not clear up her unfinished business. She, instead, just turns back into a corpse, and they bury her properly. The making of Corpse Bride. A director must have a total picture in his mind of exactly what he wants, and that's what makes Tim Burton such a good director. His inventiveness and imagination play a key role in the making of the movie. There's always a bit of a dark side to Tim Burton's works. The movie marries this darkness with beautiful humor. So much thought was put into the movie, especially the distinction between the land of the living and the land of the dead. They made this distinction so drastic on purpose. Land of the living is very repressed, uptight, a frigid society, based around Victorian times and used many British stereotypes. The characters in the land of the dead had to be stylized, fun, and nice to look at. They didn't want to do something gross. The people of the land of the dead are free from all the restrictions that they once had in the land of the living.
People in the land of the living are pretty much dead, and the people in the land of the dead are pretty lively.
They divided the worlds by color palette. The land of the dead is colorful, but the land of the living is bland and dull. They painted the characters and the sets in the land of the living in a tintype and daguerreotype of color instead of desaturating the film. The artists worked in 2 separate groups when making the puppets, the land of the living and the land of the dead. Unlike Nightmare Before Christmas's stop motion, the main puppets had mechanical faces. This caused Victor, Victoria, and Emily to have so many more facial expressions. They spent so much time and detail getting it all perfect. Every single thing seen on screen is created by a craftsperson or an artist. Mike Johnson is co-director and the main guy that was there throughout the filming. Stop motion is such a painstaking process to move the project forward frame by frame. So the movie being mostly done in traditional old-fashioned methods of shooting a film was troublesome. They use a Canon EOS 1 Mark II. It's a stills camera. The camera is a very sophisticated 35mm digital camera with a 12 gigabit chip. Single frames are shot, and then they use the data from those frames to stitch a whole film. It's a very long process of just moving and filming over and over again. They use computers to trigger the camera and seize the frame. The animator presses a button and that instructs the computer. Then the computer will move to the next frame position and shoot the camera. This was the first time using something like this. Also making it the first time they have been able to see things so immediately and make changes. One person, Phil Dale, animated the whole scene of Victor and Victoria meeting at the piano. The toughest job is to match the lip movements of the characters to the words. When Victor plays a piece of music on the piano, it becomes his theme for the movie. His fingers had to be animated to play the song correctly. Music. Danny Elfman also did the music for Corpse Bride. He needed to get into the director's head and understand what was going to make them respond. They had a whole orchestra make the music for the film. Danny Elfman does the percussion, harps, chords, and organs.
Hit it, boys. I'll tell you a story, make a skeleton cry of our own jubiliciously lovely corpse bride.
The character singing in the Bojangles song was very difficult to cast. They wanted a gruffer voice. Danny Elfman ended up voicing him, and it was very difficult for him. In the end, the film ended up being a hit long after its release and is loved to this day. We asked the class what they thought of the film, and here is their responses.
Hey, have you watched the movie Corpse Bride before?
Yes, I have.
Really? Is there anything you like about it?
I do like the art style and the fact that they do use claymation because I'm very fond of Tim Burton's claymation films.
Hey, have you watched the movie Corpse Bride by Tim Burton before?
No, but I've seen clips of it and I think it looks really nice.
Really, what do you like about it?
I like how the stop motion animation.
Hey, do you like the movie Corpse Bride by Tim Burton?
I do, yes.
What do you like about it?
It's a very sad, yet a very passionate film. It's stop motion, but it's very expressive and fluent. I'm very, very, very fond of it.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, absolutely. I like it.